Hi everyone, it's Nell with Little Yellow House Crafts. I am here to do an unexpected update video. I really didn't think I would do another one of these before baby was born, but lo and behold, today is my due date and baby is not here yet. So I don't know, I just felt like doing a video. You guys are helping keep me sane while we're waiting for this baby boy to make his appearance, so thought, well, I have some time. My kids are napping. My husband's not home right now. I might as well film a video and show you some of the things I've gotten recently. I have a lot of haul today, guys. It's called stress shopping. Stress shopping, and also I sold a bunch of stuff on Stash Unload, so I had this money that was burning a hole in my little pocket, and I mean, it's stress shopping, frankly, while I'm waiting for baby. So I have lots of haul to show you. I have 2 small finishes, a whip, and then lots and lots of haul. So this is gonna be a fun video. Quick update. Still pregnant. We're doing fine. Last week was rough. The last week of this pregnancy has been really, really challenging. Last Sunday night, so a little more than a week ago, I started having some pretty strong regular contractions, and we just kind of watched them for a while. They got closer together. They weren't painful yet, but they were definitely uncomfortable. They were strong enough to kind of make me pause. They started getting really close together, so we decided to go in just to have me checked out. And after a couple of hours, we determined I wasn't in active labor, but I was in what they call latent labor. Latent labor just means your body is gearing up and going to go into active labor eventually. But the thing about latent labor is that it can last anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of weeks. So they sent me home. I spent the whole night tossing and turning, didn't sleep a wink. With those strong contractions. Was really uncomfortable for a few more days. Then again on Friday night, so about 5 days later, same thing. Those contractions were coming really close together, really strong. Again, didn't sleep all night long. This is like the 3rd night that week that I just didn't sleep because the contractions were so strong. They were actually keeping me awake. So Saturday morning, we went back into the hospital. They checked me again. I was not in labor. It was just this darn latent labor, and thank goodness. I was a wreck. I was crying and exhausted, and frankly, not just tired from not sleeping all week, but my body was tired. My poor little uterus was exhausted from contracting all week long and no baby. So the blessed doctor in the OB wing prescribed me some medication to help relax my contractions a little bit at night. It won't stop real labor contractions, but these kind of false labor contractions I'd been having for a week. It's a, excuse me, it's a mild muscle relaxant, and it just calmed them down enough so that I could sleep. The last 3 nights have been glorious. So much better. So I'm feeling a lot better this week than I was last week. My body's just really excited to have this baby and keeps thinking that it's going to go into labor, and then nothing happens, and all it does is make me sleep deprived and uncomfortable and cranky. So doing much better now. So that's our little pregnancy update. I'll give you a bump shot. Looks pretty much the same as last time. I don't know that we've gotten a whole lot bigger, maybe a little bit. There's that bump. There's my little dude. So, I mean, the good thing is, even with all that contracting, which can sometimes put a lot of stress on baby, he's been a little rock star, man. They've put him on the monitor every time we've gone in, and he's just plugging away, happy as can be. So that's great. I'm really glad that he's not struggling because of all the contractions. It's just mom, it's just me, but I'm doing much better. So that is our little pregnancy update. Today, like I said, is my due date. No idea when this little guy's gonna come, but I'm trying to be patient. I do have an induction set for next Monday, so a little less than a week away. Today's Tuesday, March 27th, by the way. So if he hasn't made his appearance by Monday, we're forcing him out, which I'm totally fine with. Both of my first two boys had to be induced, and so, you know, I was kind of hoping to go into labor on my own this time, but it's not like we haven't done this before, and they were both born healthy and no problem. So I do have a deadline that is very comforting, even though I hope I do go into labor on my own, just knowing that there is a date set that he will be evicted by makes things a little easier to deal with. And getting a good night's sleep, man. It's amazing how much more positive your outlook becomes when you're coming from a good night's sleep. So hooray for modern medicine. Yeah, so that's how we're doing. It's a little bit gray and miserable and rainy here in the Midwest. We are getting tons of rain. My husband is actually up at his parents' home. My in-laws live about 35 minutes north of us, and their town, we got a lot of rain yesterday. Their town got like 7.5 inches of rain in one day. The whole town is flooded, and they did have a little bit of flooding in their basement. So my husband's up there with them today trying to help them mitigate some of the damage, move some of the boxes out of there, and I think they are going to have to replace some carpet. Hopefully the drywall's fine. We're crossing our fingers, but we'll see. But yeah, so that's where he is today. But yeah, so that means the lighting in here is sort of gray and overcast, but hopefully it'll make for good colors when I'm showing you things. So that's life update. We're already 7 minutes in. Let's just start talking about stitching. Because all I do these days is talk about pregnancy, and I want to talk about something else. I do have a few finishes. My first one, where did I put the chart? Here it is. My first finish, whoops, which you would have seen if you follow me on Instagram. I finished the third chart in the Lizzie Kate Less is More series, which is Talk Less, Say More. I can talk. And I am stitching these all on one piece as shown here. And I'm using the free border chart that's available on Lizzie Kate's website to put them all together. And I finished the third one. So let me show you. Oh, also, my last video, for some reason, I uploaded it and everything was fine, and then like a day later, YouTube had somehow, the last section of my video had mysteriously disappeared. In my last video, I announced the winner of my giveaway, Goldfishy 25, and then I had like 5 more minutes of talking, but YouTube cut it off after I announced the winner of the giveaway, and those last 5 minutes of talking disappeared. So Goldfishy, Janae, thank you for getting in contact with me. Speak, Nell. Your giveaway package is coming. I'm still putting it together, but I think you've gotten the first part of it. I hope. If you haven't gotten that first part of it, let me know. But yeah, the second part is still coming. I haven't forgotten. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to that last section of my last video. That's never happened to me before. I know YouTube is sometimes a little weird. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. My Lizzie Kate Less is More series. There is this right here. These two. This is chart number 3. Talk less, say more. And hanging threads as I continue the border all the way down. So we're 3/4 of the way done with this one. Still really enjoying it. I really like the colors. It's very springy, which I'm totally in the mood for right now. So this is a fun one to stitch on. Yeah, I'm stitching it in all the called for colors on a piece of, is this 28 count or did I use 32? I think this is 32. 32 count Belfast linen in the color ivory or cream. It's a Zweigart linen. And there you go. So stitching in all the called for colors, which are a combination of Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts threads. You know what, I'm just gonna put this behind me. So that's my first finish, was that third chart in this series. There are 4 charts in this series. And the last one I have left to do is Hate Less, Love More. And then I just finished the border, and I'm done. Woohoo! So that's fun. I'm not, I'm not in a huge anxious rush to get this done. It's an easy stitch. It's nice and low stress, and so I think it's a good one to save for after baby's born. If I ever get a chance to stitch after baby's born, it'll be nice to have something pretty simple to work on, so I might save that last chart for that. My second finish, I did my April Cottage by Country Cottage Needleworks, Cottages of the Month, and as I have been doing with all of these so far, I'm doing it in my own conversion of colors, using mostly over dyes, a mixture of, Victorian Motto threads, Gentle Arts, Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colorworks, whatever strikes my fancy, whatever I have in my stash that I like together, I'm using for these. And I will show you the colors I used if you're interested, but here is my cottage. And I really like how this one turned out. I was sort of concerned that it was gonna be too, when I first started it, when I started on the house, I was concerned that it was too dull in colors for April. And then the more I stitched on it, the more I loved it. I really like how it turned out. And so there is my April Cottage. That little bunny rabbit is just the cutest. And let me show you the colors I used. There's a lot of colors in this one. Some of them have lots of colors, some of them have fewer. So we'll start with the Victorian Motto threads I used. I used mostly those. This one I ended up using 7 Victorian Motto threads. The orange is Gray's Lily. The light purple in the house is Beard's Tongue, which I believe is a flower, I think. The dark purple in the house and the rest of it is French Violets. There you go. It's a beautiful grapey purple. The blue that's just in the bluebirds, it's the only spot it's used, is it's Berry Blue. That's a pretty blue. There's a pink used in the flowers, and this is kind of it's beautiful. It's like a pinky mauvey over dyed, I don't even know how you describe it. It's really pretty. It's called Prairie Calico, which just makes me think of Little House on the Prairie. Their dresses. The yellow, I used this beautiful light yellow. It's called Banana Cream, and that is the perfect name for it. This creamy pale yellow that's totally getting washed out. There you go. You can see that. And then the lighter green, which is the last Victorian Motto thread, is one of the new ones from her March thread club, and that was Blarney Green. And that's a really pretty springy green. More on the mint side. It's not as yellow green. It's more of a minty spring green, Blarney Green. Then for some of the other colors, the darker green, I ended up using Weeks Dye Works Hunter. For the black, I was just going to use DMC, and then I realized I had a little bit of this left. It's Weeks Dye Works Mascara, which is just a black. If you ever have a pattern that calls for Weeks Dye Works Mascara, just use 310. I cannot, for the life of me, see any variegation in this at all. There are some blacks and very, very dark grays that do have variation, like I think it's Gentle Arts Coal, or maybe it's Weeks Dye Works Coal. I can't remember. Coal has some variation, Mascara is just straight up black. But I had it, so I thought, why not? And then the two colors in the roof, I used a Classic Colorworks and a Gentle Arts. Classic Colorworks Brandied Pears and Gentle Arts Brandy. Brandied Pears and Brandy. And those are the two colors in the roof and the tree trunk and the border and all of that. So those were the colors I used. Here it is one more time. And you can see how very pretty it is. Love it. Still really enjoying these little cottages of the month. I really like coming up with my own conversions for them. That makes it really fun. I love pulling out my beautiful threads every time I'm ready to start another one. And I spend, 20 minutes, 30 minutes going through my threads and coming up with my conversions. So that's been fun. I have also started my April Joyful World Sal by the Snowflower Diaries, and you're going to get a sneak peek of part of my haul. Very obvious part of my haul, and I don't have much of it started, but I have a little bunny. And this is a new frame, you may notice. Little bunny holding a carrot, and that is all I have. I am stitching this on 28 count casual linen in the color Cobblestone, and I love how well the white bunny pops on it. I chose a little bit deeper fabric for this particular month because of that white bunny, and I wanted it to be nice and visible. So that is my only other whip to show you. I've just been stitching on my Lizzie Kate, and then my Cottage of the Month, and then this guy. That's all I've really worked on in the last few weeks. I mean, it's only been, I think it's been less than 2 weeks since my last video, or maybe it's been 2 weeks. I have no idea. Regardless, that's it. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the first part of my haul, which is my Rolla Frames. Okay, so little stitching story about Nell. When I first picked cross stitching back up when I was in my late teens, I had done some cross stitching when I was younger in like a elementary school or middle school craft club or something to that effect. That's where I first learned to cross stitch. And I really loved it, but I didn't do it again. I was all about the ballet. That's all I had time for in my life for a lot of years. And then when I picked cross stitch back up in my late teens, I used scroll frames to stitch. I didn't like hoops. My mom had a few hoops and I tried those. I did not like them. I did not like holding all that fabric in my hands, and I for whatever reason, I did not like the hoops. So I went to Joann's or Michael's or one of those big box craft stores, and they sell scroll frames there. They're pretty terrible, but they sell them. They're just split rod scroll frames where the scroll rods, are split in half and you slide your fabric in there and then you roll them up. They're terrible with holding tension. They're not, you can't customize the size you want. They come in one size in a package and you just do that. And I did that for a couple of years, and it wasn't the best, but I didn't know anything different, and that's all I ever used to stitch. Then I discovered Q-snaps. This is back in the days before Facebook groups and YouTube and Instagram and stuff, and this was back when we all were on cross-stitch forums, and I was on a forum through, I think, LiveJournal or something. You guys remember LiveJournal? Oh my gosh, this is so old. I'm dating myself. This is at least 10, 12 years ago now. Someone was talking about Q-snaps and I'd never heard of them, and that's when I got introduced to the whole wide world of cross stitch. It's like I found that door into independent designers that weren't Dimensions or Janlin or Busilla or things you could get at the big box stores. I discovered, you know, independent designers. Lizzie Kate was one of the first ones I found. I discovered linen versus Aida, which is all I had ever stitched on. I discovered over-dyed threads. I discovered, you know, hand-dyed fabric. It was like my world, my cross-stitch world opened. And I found Q-snaps. Tried them, never looked back. Threw out all my old scroll frames and was strictly a Q-snap girl. And I have been ever since. I have been just a Q-snap girl. I love my Q-snaps, but they have a few disadvantages. I'm the first one to admit. And so Vonna, the Twisted Stitcher, Vonna Pfeiffer, always talks about her Rolla Frames. She was also a Q-snap lady before she discovered Rolla Frame. And she has raved about Rolla Frame scroll frames on her blog and her YouTube channel. And I was always kind of intrigued by them. The thing about Rolla Frames that's unique is that I'm not going to take it apart to show you, but if you've never seen these before, I'm sure most of you have. The rods are in two pieces, and one side has little spikes, and then the other side has little holes that match the spikes. So what you do is you actually spike your fabric onto the bottom half of the rod, and then you put the top half on, and then you put it into the sidebars and you scroll it up. And what that means is you get great tension with Rolla Frame, which was my biggest complaint with my old crappy scroll frames. And I liked that they were made in the US. You know, I didn't have to order them from overseas. They weren't terribly expensive. They're very economically priced. They're also a mix and match style. So you buy the length of scroll rods you want and then the length of the sidebars, and they have a bajillion different sizes. And I was always really intrigued by it, but you know, I was pretty happy with my Q-snaps. So why would I spend the money? Well, I've been doing a lot of shopping, as I have said, and I was haunting Stash Unload, and there was a girl in California who was selling her whole lot of barely used, almost new Rolla Frames. And for a fairly steep discount off of what it would cost to buy them new, and she had only used them a few times. They were practically brand new. And I was thinking about it, and I talked to my husband about it, and I was like, I just don't know. It's a lot of money to spend on something I'm not sure if I'm gonna like, but it is a pretty good deal if I do like them, and if I don't, I can always turn around and sell them. Because as soon as I said, me please, on that post, I mean, within 3 hours, there were like 7 more people who had commented because people love Rolla Frames. And so I decided to do it. And he was like, yeah, if you don't like them, you can sell them. If you do, then you got a great deal. So I bought them. And I really like them. So thank you, Vonna, for telling us all about Rolla Frames, for talking them up so much, because here I am loving my Rolla Frame. Couple of things I really like about them. This is one of the smallest sizes. The lot that she sold me, she had like 7 different sizes of scroll bars and like 4 different sizes of the sidebars. So these are the smallest sidebars. These are 7 inches. And then this is a 13-inch scroll bar or rod, or scroll rod, whatever you call these things. And so it's a small size. They are lightweight. They are not heavy, which is something that I really was worried about. That's part of the reason I like my Q-snaps, is because I stitch holding my frames in my hand. And I didn't want something super heavy. I know that the Omanic frames and the Millennium frames are really well made, but they're heavy because they're really sturdy, and that's what people want, and that's a great thing, but I don't know, I didn't want them to be heavy. These are lightweight. As I said before, the tension is fantastic. It really holds the tension, and I would even say it holds the tension as well, if not better, over time than my Q-snap. The thing with Q-snaps is they do tend to slip as you're stitching. They just loosen up, and it's not that hard to retighten them. You just, crank the little clamps, but they do, as you're stitching, they do tend to lose their tension a little bit. It's not a lot. Like I said, I love Q-snaps. Major fan of Q-snaps. This doesn't ever lose its tension. Because it's spiked on there, and because these sidebars clamp down so well, these things don't lose their tension. I can stitch for hours on this and never have to retighten or readjust. So one thing that is a slight disadvantage with this is that with larger projects, I will probably need to get a lap stand, because just the nature of scroll frames, when they start getting long or really big, they just become too heavy, too cumbersome to hold in your own hand. You can prop it on a couch arm or a chair arm or something, but I will probably need a lap stand. I'm gonna have my husband try and finagle my PVC lap stand that I made to go with my Q-snaps, see if he can alter that a little bit to make a little lap frame for this. But honestly, after reading so many reviews and Vanna's reviews of her different lap stands, I might just go ahead and end up purchasing the Rolla Frame lap stand that can adjust to any size of Rolla Frame that you want, really. And you don't have to use it at a table. You can use it on a chair or the couch or whatever, which is kind of key for me because that's where I tend to stitch. So that is my very brief overview of the Rolla Frame. So far I love them. I don't think I'm going to be selling them on. I think I'm going to keep them. I may still use my Q-snaps from time to time for really small bitty projects. But I mean, I even put this guy, this is only 9 inches wide, and I had a set, she sold me a set of 9-inch scroll bars, and I put this on there, and it was so cute. It was like, it was these short little sidebars, and the whole thing was only like this wide. It was just adorable, and it was the same weight as my 8x8 Q-snap. And I had more stitching area because I didn't have to worry about the fabric that has to wrap around the side of the PVC to have it clamp on. You have a lot more stitching area to work with on a scroll frame than you do on a Q-snap, and that is one advantage. Other big advantage, you don't get the wrinkles. I mean, I don't mind ironing. I've been using Q-snaps for 10 years, and I don't mind ironing out the wrinkles that inevitably come with clamping a piece in a Q-snap, and especially putting a grime guard over the extra fabric. I don't mind that. This is wrinkle-free, man. There are no wrinkles to worry about ironing. So there are advantages and disadvantages to all types of frames. But so far, I am very impressed with the Rolla Frames. I intend to keep stitching with them. It'll be interesting. So far, I've only done real small projects on them. So when I finish this, I will probably put one of my larger projects on a Rolla Frame and see how I do there. Like I said, I suspect that I probably will want a lap stand to work with, but I'm really happy with them. So that's my 2 cents. If you've ever wanted to try Rolla Frame and just weren't sure, Vanna is not lying. They really are great. They hold the tension super well. They're lightweight. They're very well made. They feel very smooth. There's no rough or sharp edges on the wood. Yeah. I like them. So there you go. That was my first haul, and I'm sitting here looking at the box. I mean, it came in a huge box because I have 7 sets of roller bars and 4 sets of side bars and an accessory arm and the wing nut tool that she sent me. So yeah, we shall see. So that was the first part of my haul. That was by far the most expensive part of my haul. The rest of this is sort of embarrassing. Okay, it's not embarrassing. Like I said, stress shopping. I'm waiting for a baby to come out, and frankly, sometimes I can't even be comfortable enough to stitch in the evenings when my contractions get going and it's just not comfortable to be sitting up and trying to stitch. And so what do? I window shop. I cross-stitch window shop, which inevitably leads to actual shopping, which means I have a lot of haul. It's all the rest of this is just patterns. I haven't bought any fabric or any threads or anything. They're just patterns, and whatever. It's been helping me get through this stressful and difficult time of waiting for baby to come. The first things I'm going to show you, you're all going to laugh at me. Well, I'm sure we all did the same thing. About a month and a half ago, when Linda announced that she was retiring, that Lizzie Kate was retiring, everyone panicked and Lizzie Kate panic shopped, right? I know I did. I assume other people did. Definitely Lizzie Kate panicked shopped. And then of course she came out and said, okay, hold on everyone, don't panic. We're not going anywhere. Our charts will still be available. I'm just not designing anymore. And I don't know how long they're gonna continue to keep printing them, but she did assure us that we don't need to panic and cause absolute pandemonium, which it was a little late by then because we had already done major panic shopping, and like every online cross-stitch shop is like sold out of everything, and the brick and mortar shops are selling out, and stuff is still coming in, but it's just hilarious how we all freaked out. So I went on, the very day I found out she was retiring, I went on and bought two Lizzie Kate series that I'm a sucker for series that I've been wanting for years and just never bought. And when I thought that I wasn't going to be able to get them anymore, I panicked and bought them. And the first one is the Jingles series. This is a series of Christmas charts, and there's 12 in this series. You can stitch them all together on one, and it looks like that. It's very, very cute. I don't know if I will stitch them all on one or if I'll stitch them as little individual ornaments, but here we go. There's Deck the Halls. Here's Noel. Ho 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 Holiday. That reindeer is adorable. Cheer. The snowman. Wait till December 25th. Mary, Fa La 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 La, that cardinal with a Santa hat. That's cute. Joy to the World, I really like that one. I think that one would make a really pretty like little pillow bowl filler type thing. Silent Night with the owl. Love with the poinsettias. Joy is a little bell, and then the 12th one is Let It Snow. So there's 12 charts in all, one pattern per chart, and that's the Jingles series. I got these, I think I got all of these at 1-2-3 Stitch. Like seriously, the day she announced she was retiring was the day I hopped on and bought these, and so it was before a lot of people had gotten the word and before they had sold out of literally all of their Lizzie Kate charts. This next series, I got some at 1-2-3 Stitch, and then the rest I got at Down Sunshine Lane because 1-2-3 Stitch didn't have all of them. So, and that is the Tingles series, which is essentially the same thing but Halloween. And again, there are 12 charts. You can stitch them all on one. The difference being that there are actually 2 charts per pattern in these, so there's only 6 individual charts. Regardless, here we have Ghosties and Ghoulies and Haunted. These I'm just obsessed with. I love these. October 31st and Jack-o'-lantern. Just Batty and Trick or Treat. It's Hallow Scream and Toil and Trouble. It's Halloween and Fright Night. And then the last one is possibly my favorite, Gone Haunting and Spooky. I love this pumpkin with the flowers and the moon, and I love the words, and oh. And then, yeah, Gone Haunting with the witch and the wagon of pumpkins. This one's my favorite, I think. So, that is the Tingles series. So that was the first part of my haul. That I bought, yeah, around the time that she announced she was retiring. That was my panic shopping, was those 2 series. Then she came out and said, don't panic. The charts will still be available. So then I chilled out a little bit. I did order also from Down Sunshine Lane or 1-2-3 Stitch. I cannot remember. When I bought those, there was one other chart I decided to throw in. which is Lizzie Kate Let Them Be Small, which I'm thinking a lot about my kids and being a mom these days, obviously, and this one just really appealed to me. And it says, "You will never have this day with your children again. Tomorrow they'll be a little older than today. This day is a gift. Just breathe, notice, pay attention. Enjoy today. It will be over before you know it." And I love that sentiment. I try so hard not to wish away these challenging early baby and toddler years. They are really hard. There's hard things about every stage of parenthood. I know that. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I'm well aware that teenagers are challenging, preteens are hard. Every stage has its challenges, but I don't think there's ever a time that you're as exhausted and emotionally and physically drained as you are when your babies are babies and toddlers. And I try really hard not to wish this time away, because there will come a day when I will miss it. So I got that one too. Then I calmed down about the Lizzie Kate thing. There was a lady on Stash Unload who was selling this Lizzie Kate series that I bought a few weeks later, and kind of hemmed and hawed over this one, but it was really inexpensive. She was selling them really, really cheaply. And I think they're really sweet. They'll make cute little Christmas ornaments. I don't, this isn't one that was like on my I must have it list, but she was selling them so cheaply on Stash Unload that I thought, what the heck. So I got them, and that is the Christmas Blessings with Charm Flip It series, and there's like a little picture of a tree. This is an older series with all of them on there, but really quickly, we have love, friends, hope, what does that say? Charity, joy, song, giving, caring, right? Yeah, caring. I'm reading these backwards. Family, faith, home, and peace. And so it's just a little series of 12. They're very tiny little ornaments. Yeah, this was not like something I've been waiting for years, but I thought, what the heck? She's selling them. They're really cheap. They're cute. Be cute little Christmas ornaments. So that's all the Lizzie Kate. That's a lot of Lizzie Kate. I bought a lot of Lizzie Kate in the last month, and it's just, yeah, most of it was panic induced, and then I calmed down and realized life was still going to continue. The Lizzie Kate planet will continue to spin on, but that was that. The rest of these were all from Stash Unload. But I just shouldn't spend any time on Stash Unload. I just can't resist a good deal, though. And I have a serious weakness you are going to see. I have such a weakness for series. Guys, is anyone else like that? When there's when someone's selling like a whole series, a complete series or something, and it's a really good price, I just cannot. That is my major weakness. This lady was just crazy, was selling all 5 of these charts for like $8, which is ridiculously inexpensive. And I've liked these for a long time, but I don't know, I didn't jump right out and buy them. I like them, but someday maybe, I don't know. But when they were that inexpensive, and she had 5 of them, there's 12, that's another monthly series, and she was selling 5 of them for $8, and I'm like, that's like $1.30 a chart. How can you say no to that? And that is the Hands-On Design chalk series. And so she had April through August. So she has April, May, June, July. I love this one, red, white, and barbecue. July and August. And so she had those for really cheap, and I bought them, and I really like them. I do think I will go on and purchase the rest of the charts for that monthly series. I'm plenty happy with my 2 monthly series I'm working on this year, my Cottages of the Month and my Joyful World, but maybe next year I will want another monthly series to work on, and maybe I'll do the Hands-On Design, the chalk A Year in Chalk, that's what they're called. I also need to keep working on my Prairie Schooler monthly series, because I have a problem with monthly series. I only have 2 of my Prairie Schoolers done. I have April and I have November done, but those are much bigger. I mean, these are little, stitch them up in a couple of days kind of size. Those are much bigger and take a lot longer. The last thing I bought, surprise, surprise, is another series because I have a problem. And this was, again, a lady was selling the whole series for a very good deal. And so I jumped on it. And I have loved these ever since I saw Vanna finish hers. And she stitched them all on one, and she stitched her own border, and they were just breathtakingly beautiful. I think she said it was one of her favorite pieces she's ever finished. And with Vanna, that's saying something, because that woman is a stitching maniac. And that is the Little House Needleworks ABC samplers. There's 9 of these. They're little sampler houses, and they're beautiful. And the lady was selling all of them in the series, so I bought them. Stress baby shopping. What are you gonna do? A, B, C, D, and E. This is my favorite. F, G, H. I just love the colors in that one. The yellow and the green and the red. Oh, that's beautiful. This is JKL. IJK. I can't read backwards. IJK. LMN. Little Christmas scene with the deer. OPQ. I also really like this one. RST with the little blue house. UVW. And X, Y, and Z. So that's 9, right? Did I lie? I think it's 9. No, there are 9. So that's the 9 series, and you can stitch them separately as they've done in these little pillows. But I will likely, once again, because I love her and she's like my cross-stitching idol, I will probably stitch them like Vanna. Because I just want to be her. I don't know. Vanna, not in a creepy way, I promise. I just admire your work very greatly. I admire your talent. I admire your wealth of knowledge. Obviously, I'm buying Rolla Frames. I'm like a weird Vanna fangirl, not in a creepy way. Anyway, I will probably stitch them like Vanna did. Like I said, I didn't buy any fabric for any of these. They are not kitted up. I don't know if I'm going to stitch them in called for colors or if I'm going to go to my collection of threads and convert them myself, which I'm doing more and more these days. But that is the embarrassing amount of shopping that I have done. And I'm slightly ashamed, and also just like, whatever gets me through these last weeks of pregnancy, right? And now I have all these wonderful things to look forward to stitching and eventually passing along to other people. That's the thing, guys. When I finish stitching stuff, I put it away and I pass the stash. I'm getting a giveaway package ready for Goldfishy, who won my giveaway from my last or a couple videos ago when I hit 3,000 subscribers, and it's so fun to get to pass along all of these nice charts that I have finished and thoroughly enjoyed stitching myself and getting to pass along to other people. So that is one of my justifications for buying all of this nonsense. No, it's just, it makes me happy. I like cross stitch, and it's helping keep me sane during these last few days. That is it. That's all I have. Thanks for hanging out. We've probably lost most people already because we're almost at 45 minutes. And not everyone enjoys watching haul, but if you stuck around to see all of that, I hope that was fun for you. I hope you enjoyed seeing that. Hopefully I will have a baby next time I see you. There's no way. I'm not gonna film another video in the next 6 days, and this baby's coming out on Monday, if not before then. So thank you all for your support and your kind words on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. You guys have all been so great on cheering me on and encouraging me to hang in there. I really do appreciate it. It is helpful. And send me prayers and best wishes for this baby. He is coming in the next 6 days. So thank you, everyone. Happy stitching. I hope you're all healthy and well and safe, and I'm hoping you're having lots of time to do all the things you love. And I will see you in a couple of weeks with a new little baby to show off maybe, huh? That'll be fun. All right, guys, take care. Bye.